Hello, people of WyoNation, and welcome to the WyoNation postgame show. It's just me running solo tonight, and we have a lot to talk about, of course. We'll see how many of you show up after this rather pathetic showing. But welcome to you all joining on Twitter and, of course, on YouTube, is where we are at the most. And we'll wait a few minutes for people to file on in as we lament the 44-17 loss to the Wyoming Cowboys have taken to the North Texas Mean Green. Got the stats here to go over. They're pretty ugly. Got a lot of notes tonight. A lot of questions that needed to be answered as we enter conference play for the Cowboys. And some of those questions got answered. And now I would say we even have more questions, which is even more concerning as Wyoming goes into conference play. Joseph is in the house. Greetings, Joseph. Let's get you up on here. What do you have to say? But at least the offense was a little better than the last few weeks. I don't know. That is a thing we'll talk about. So let's just get to it. So in the pregame, this is what I tweeted. This is what I was looking for. I was looking for improvement and coaching. An improvement was on the offensive side of the ball. And after seeing this game, I honestly don't know if we've seen improvement. We'll break it down. And then coaching. Did the coaches put the players in the best position to be successful? A lot of the ways they did not. Yet again, looked like the same thing. We saw the same mistakes. We saw the same shortcomings. And we didn't see a whole lot of new things, but we did see some new things, and that was some players coming back. So we'll talk about that. But, yeah, overall pretty ugly. Again, remember, this was a 9-point spread Vegas had, and you end up losing 44-17. So I don't know. Where do you want to begin? Do we want to – I can talk about – I've got 2 or 3 little positive things we can talk about, and then we can start tearing people apart. What say you out there in the Twitterverse and on YouTube? You can leave your comment, leave your vote. Do we go bad early? Do we gripe and then go positive? Or do we start with the positive, say, hey, these are some good things we saw, and then get into what needs to be fixed, or this football team is going to have one of their worst seasons in a while? So what say you? We have no comments so far. So it's my choice as your host who, watches all these games, takes all these notes. We'll go positive first. We'll get more people to come in. Maybe people will be more talkative. So the first thing, I guess, that was positive was obviously the return of John Michael Gillenborg at tight end. That obviously helped Svoboda in the first half. I think he was targeted like 8 times or something. We'll have to take a look on the stats to see if they got targets. But Gillenborg was back. He looked healthy. He was moving around, had that big run or a big reception. Let me look here at my notes. I think it was to him. No, it wasn't to him. It was a different play. 31 yards. 31 yards was the play, just from Svoboda to Gillenborg, which was great to see. And, so he was back, which is good for the offense, obviously. The second thing is, how about that kick return, right? Wyoming really needed that kick return, and then I always wondered why. Why is he always taking it out? Well, that's why. You saw there, great vision, world-class speed. I mean, that wasn't just run straight down the field. I mean, he ran up the middle of the field, and he had to make 2 or 3 guys miss, and then he outran everybody. So great job, 105 yards, I do believe, on the kick return. And, we'll see. You saw what they did in the second half. They started squibbing it. So maybe opponents will see what people do in the future with King back there returning kicks. And then, I don't know, the third thing, I guess, will be, hey, we still got a really good punter as long as you snap the ball properly. Colbreth did really well yet again. Let me see if I can find the special teams numbers here really quick. Actually, kind of had a kind of a bad night average-wise just because of the shank. So 6 punts, 38.7, but that includes like a 10-yard punt or a 12-yard punt that he had because of the bad snap, and we'll get to the bad snap. So let's see. We got some more comments here. Let's get to these. AJ's in the house. Welcome, AJ. Not sure how they win a single game this year. Yes, we'll get into that. Austin says, we need a coaching change. Okay. I can respect you saying that. TG is here. He says, does Coach J allow media into practices? I'm curious what those in attendance feel on technique, tempo, and execution. So the answer to that is no. There is no media attendance at practice. Right? And that's the question I feel that, number one, the media needs to ask. I would ask it, but they shut down. The weekly press conference, you used to be able to call in and ask questions, and I would do so often. But this year, they've made it in person only. So I cannot call in. But I would ask, are you seeing the problems with Svoboda? The inaccurate passes, are they a problem in practice? I'm guessing they are. Clint is in the house. This is a long one. Let's read here. It occurred to me this morning, there are kids who went to school, enjoyed football, basketball, success, never had to live like this before. Welcome to the 2000s. Oh, okay. There we go. Yes, a lot of us were, in school at Laramie at that time during the Vic Koenig era. And a lot of people are saying that this is looking a whole lot like the Vic Koenig era. So again, if you have your comments, you can send them in on YouTube in the chat. On Twitter, it's the same thing. It looks like it's grayed out, but you can hit the chat button in there and you'll get those. So would love to hear your comments. That's why we are here. That's why we do this show. Otherwise, it's just me rambling. But let's get to some more notes. Yes, thank you. Yes, I wore this on the roundup this last week. So thank you. The ever infamous Keen Ropes hat. I think everybody from Wyoming should own one for sure. Let's get a little drink there. Okay, let's bring up some stats. We'll go over them and then we'll talk about this. Here's where I want to start stat-wise. Let me flip this over. Got some stuff written down on this page. All right. If we go here, let's go to the cumulative comparison here. Bang. Okay. Wyoming, 240 yards of offense on the night. And may I remind you that, so for those of you, right, so to get back to the question earlier by who was it first? Joseph, who said this. At least the offense was a little better. Well, I don't know. Right? Because we got 17 points and 240 yards against what is basically the worst defense in FBS going into this weekend. Going into this weekend, North Texas averaged giving up 41 points a game and 472 yards a game. So Wyoming was roughly a little less than half of that on the points and a little more than half of that in yards. Right? So a terrible defense. And they were the worst defense in FBS last season too. So it's not like this is a new thing. They're terrible. And Wyoming looked pretty good in the first half. So let's hide this for a second. I did tweet it out at halftime. And I got the numbers here. The first half, I was actually pretty kind of like, all right, this will work. This is something to build on. Svoboda was 9 of 16 for 136 yards and a touchdown. That was 56% passing. But if we look at this again, he ended the night at 48% passing. So another game below 50%. All right, some more comments here. Let's get to them. Austin again says, this is reminding me of the 2015 team. Yes, very much so. I think that team started like 0-5, 0-6 before they won a game. Finished that year 2-10. And Wyoming is looking at that again, unfortunately. Let's see. SSN Wyoming says the worst FBS team, Wyoming? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. All right, the comments are coming in too quick. You guys are awesome. Here we go. Roman Zuniga's in. He says, what more does the coaching staff need to see before they pull the plug on Sabota? Yep, UNT had the 122nd ranked passing defense. Yeah, exactly. One of the worst defenses in the country. We could barely move the ball. We'll talk more about Svoboda. And again, I know people are nailing him, but it's not just him. So let's talk about the offensive line tonight. Very bad, I thought. The tackles were turnstiles. In the run game, they blocked a little better, I thought. But overall, pass blocking, I don't know how an offensive line that returns 4 out of 5 starters from a 9-win team can look so bad. It's got to be coaching. Something's got to change in the way they prepare or something, because it makes no sense to me. Other things, the running back rotation's a little weird. I don't think that's doing anybody any favors. I think it's clear that Sam Scott is our best running back, and he should get the bulk of the carries from now on. I don't like this running 3 guys at a time stuff. But we'll get into some more stats. We got some more comments. Yes, so talk about the offensive line. Watch out, another snap just went to kill momentum. Yes. Wow, the snaps are killing us. Tulafono. He's got to be – you got to bench him at some point, right? You can't – your center can't be just skying snaps. And that one snap didn't even leave the ground. I don't know. I have to look at – I saw the replay. It looked like maybe he kicked it or something. I don't know. Pretty wild. Let's see. Meat Hook. North Texas made adjustments at the half. How many 3-and-outs do they force? Yeah. So, again, I don't know. We were going for balance, which I think is key. And I'm okay for balance. But you got to be able to throw the ball. And then they kind of went pass happy. Our center was spectacular last few years, too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's like an all Mountain West level player. And all of a sudden, he can't snap the ball. So, again, I don't know. What has changed? So, what has changed with the offensive line? Because Wyoming can't run the ball. Let's bring this up. It's bad. Let me get it bigger on my screen here so I can see. But look at this. 31 rushes for 65 yards. Now, sacks do come out of that. But when you look at the running back totals, Scott was our best runner, only had 3.5 yards a carry. Jones, 2.3. Farrell, -2 because he took a big loss on one of those. So, yeah, I don't know. Until Wyoming, 2.1 yards a carry, that's not going to work. Wyoming has to run the ball. And even when Wyoming had terrible offenses where we weren't scoring any points, we could still at least run the ball. So it's very questionable. A lot of great chats here. Let me get to them. Welcome on in, Evan A. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome on in. Sam Scott is the only dude who at least consistently falls forward after contact. Those 1 or 2 yards are huge. Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why he's got to get the lion's share. Stop the rotation. Give Scott 20 to 25 carries a game. Just make it happen. Make it happen. Dean is in the house. Welcome, Dean. Starting center for the Eagles, got the yips for Nebraska one year. It was brutal. Yeah. I forgot his name already, but I remember that year. Yeah, like he got benched, right, Dean? I'm pretty sure Nebraska even benched him because it was like crazy. He couldn't snap the ball to save his life. So, I mean, Wyoming's got to do something. You can't have your center not able to snap the dang ball. Great comments, everybody. So, yeah, so offensively, I don't think the scheme's terrible. Jay Johnson's doing some things, but I think it's too much. They can't execute it. Either they're not being coached properly or they can't execute it, what's in front of them. Yeah, Dean says, yes, the center was benched multiple times. So what was his name again? It wasn't Piper. Maybe it was Piper. Was it Piper? But yeah, for Wyoming, you just can't. We've been seeing it's 4 games now, bad snaps. At some point, you got to hold people accountable. Evan looked a little better in the first half. Second half, pretty terrible. Let's see. So if he was 9 of 16, I think, hold on, let's find this. He was 9 of 16 at halftime, and he finished the game 11 of 23. So he went 2 of 7 in the second half. Right? That's not going to work. And I'm not blaming him because you saw Anderson come in at the end and he didn't look much better. But I think there's people open. I think the offensive line had problems, and that just messes with you. But I think he just needs a sit. And even he may give you your best chance to win. I agree with that, but you can't be running this guy out there. Cam Jurgens. That's it. Yeah, really good player. But he got the yips, and he got benched. And the guy's in the NFL playing now. So, again, Tulifono is not like some all-time guy who can – he's got to be held accountable. Yeah, they're doing some nice stuff. The RPA stuff, but we can't get downhill, yeah. Like he's calling some nice stuff to get things going in the short running or the short passing game, but the run game is non-existent, and they got to fix that. I don't know how you fix that. People have any ideas? I don't know. I think it's just play better, right? I don't know. The offensive line is the key to that. Let's bring the stats up again. So, again, real struggling here. 2.1 yards a carry. I didn't even calculate yards per pass attempt tonight. But, I mean, obviously we got blown out. How about this Morris kid? We've been talking about him on the roundup, just saying, hey, watch out when we play these guys. He reminded me, I don't know about you. Let's turn off the stats real quick. He kind of reminded me of, he had a different type of body, of course, but he reminded me a lot of Andrew Peasley. Not like some super athlete, but just he's on time. He gets rid of the ball. He's mobile. He can run. He's just a gamer. He knows how to play football. So, yeah, I thought he reminded me a lot of Andrew Peasley, did Morris. And, again, another 300. He's averaging over 300 yards a game. So, another one tonight against Wyoming. Unfortunately for us. For him, bring it up here. 305, 2 touchdowns. So, yeah. Let's get back to the comparison, actually. So, Wyoming gives up 534 yards. So, the defense, let's talk about that. Oh, man, I just saw they gave up over 200 yards rushing, right? That's a problem. So, any slight improvement that the offense made, the defense gave that away, and that was tackling. So, that was, again, on my list. Tackling. Poor tackling has been a theme of the first 3 games, and tonight it was pretty bad, especially in the run game. I mean, Wyoming, you got to fix these things, right? He keeps saying this is on me. We're going to fix it. Well, okay. So in 4 games, we've had bad snaps, penalties. Let's look at the total penalties again. They seem pretty crazy there for a while. Let's bring this up so everybody can see it. Let's see. Defenses, special teams, where are penalties? Are they on here? Don't see penalties. Maybe you got to go to game. Here we go. Game penalties. All right. Well, I guess Wyoming had 4, but I think a lot of them got declined. Because they made plays on them and they just declined them. Yeah, Clintz says that was their 3rd and 4th string running backs. And, of course, that's our excuse, right? Saying, well, we're missing Whaley. Well, they were playing a guy who, according to the TV broadcast, if you listened, was a wide receiver at Kansas State last year. And he ran all over us. So it's not good. Another thing. Pretty crazy. So Wyoming, right, played Arizona State, who had tons of turnover. Apparently, North Texas is number 1. 77 new newcomers. How do they put together a team with that? They just whooped our tails. They looked well coached. And we have a coach who's complaining that we lost 6 starters from a 9-win team, and that's why we can't win. So again, a lot of this is coaching, execution, all things that need to be fixed and can be fixed or fixable if the coaches want to fix them. Yeah. Let's see. Evan only throws seeds and he has great catches on some today. Oh, what do you mean by the seeds? What he sees? This is the one I meant to click on, though. Yeah. So Gillenborg had 5 catches for 56 yards. He was targeted 7 times. I think 5 of those came in the first half. So we got to get Gillenborg rolling. That is for sure. Let's see here. What other stats would you guys like to see? Just kind of make sure going through my notes here. I think I've hit everything I want to. It's just we're seeing the same problems. We're seeing the same problems. And it's going to be I'm going to be very interested in what he has to say. Because nothing's been fixed as far as I'm concerned. And the defense has gotten worse. And this was a bad matchup for the defense, as we talked about. I was really concerned about our secondary, especially with Rook Brown being out in the first half, and they got torched. Meathook says defense isn't physical at all. I said the whole team isn't physical. I would say is a problem. Right? And so the only thing I can think of is it's a Craig Bull thing. I think people they respected and were afraid of Bull. And as I said this before, and a lot of new viewers tonight, I think this nails it perfectly is, all right, Salvel's come in, and everybody liked Salvel because they saw him around, right? They were so excited to bring him back because he was on staff. But this has got substitute teacher vibes to me. Like he's the cool substitute teacher. You think he's great. You'll listen to him. But are you really going to bust your tail for him? No, he's the substitute teacher. So that's my analogy of this situation. And we'll see. He could turn it around, but it's up to him at this point in time. So I'll be very interested to see what he has to say in the postgame. All right. So let me see here. I've got penalties written down, and I guess they were less. But did they seem more to you guys too? It seemed like we had a lot of penalties. Right now, they're only saying we had 4. The snapping we talked about, that's got to get fixed. The tackling, absolutely terrible. QB play, a little better in the first half. I would say he felt a little more comfortable in the pocket. The defensive line or the offensive line's not helping him much. But I think the biggest problem is he doesn't read. He's a one-read quarterback. And if his one read is not there, he doesn't know what to do. That's my observation, and I think it's backed up by when you saw Anderson come in the game, you could see him turning his head, looking at the different reads. Evan is one side of the field. Now, maybe I'm wrong. If you guys think I'm wrong, please point it out. But that's what I've observed. I don't see Evan moving his head around looking at different sides of the field. It's one read. If that read's not open, he panics. And that's a problem. But Anderson looked like he was reading the defense to me. And that's what's got to happen. So let's see here. Do we want to break down some drives? Right. So the reason I say that there's no improvement because the second half, any goodwill the offense built up in the first half got thrown away in the second. Let's take a look at this. Drive chart. We've got 3 plays, 9 yards, punt. 3 plays, 4 yards, punt. 3 plays, 0 yards, punt. Best drive of the second half, 11 plays, 53 yards, turnover on downs. And then 3 plays, 2 yards, punt. 4 plays, 10 yards, punt. So, right, that's not acceptable. That's not improvement. That's against the worst defense in FBS. You got, what? Less than 100 yards for sure. 63, yeah, like 60 yards of offense? My goodness. My goodness. Austin is back. Tom Berman should have taken interviews for the head coaching job. I blame him. This is looking like a bad hire. Well, yes. I guess in the end, if we get to that point, we'll see. As I said, it's not trending good. It's very much in the Vic Koenig territory, and hopefully they learn from that. But yeah, Tom Berman loves him an internal hire. That's for sure. Was afraid of the transfer portal, remember. That's why we did it. But we just got beat by a team who had 77 new people by using the portal. I say use the portal to your advantage instead of being afraid of the portal. And then we mentioned this before. Just go back to Tom Berman there. Right? Like if, and we're not there yet. This is only 4 games. But if we get to the point where Savell is relieved, 100% Tom Berman should not be making the decision on who is the next football coaches. But the only person that could do that is either the university president or the board of trustees. And Berman's lived a charmed life so far. Like the longest serving athletic director in FBS who's won deadly squat. 6 drives in a row on punter downs is not good. Yes. Yeah, so you don't have to be an analytics person to know that. Oh, all right. Let's see here. Is there anything else even worth looking at? Don't know. It's very sad. Target-wise, like they do a good job spreading targets around, which I like. If you have the talent to do it, I don't know what the problem is. And let's look at this play-wise. 31 rushes and 28. So I find that interesting, that the balance that they're looking for, and they've pretty much been balanced all year. I thought they would be more like 60-40 in terms of run to pass, but it's pretty much been 50-50. I'll break down the numbers when they come in for the entire season. But it doesn't do you much good if you can't run the ball. That's the problem. Injuries. When are we getting some guys back on defense? I do not know. Like first they said Wyatt Eckler was going to play tonight with a broken thumb, and then they announced earlier today that he was not going to play. So that obviously that was a big blow. Harris at defensive end's out. Siders was out. So a lot of injuries. And you do have to put that into consideration. But again, this was a 9-point Vegas game, and we got blown out. So I didn't see a lot of fight. How is King not getting the ball more? He has to be utilized more. He seems electric. It's a good question. Same thing with Chris Durr, people are talking about, the true freshman who's also very fast. Yeah, I don't know. You think King would be your jet sweep guy for sure. I think, or those screens, I think, right, was it in the was it the Arizona State game? They had the screen set up to King, and they threw it right at him, and he dropped it. I don't know how good his hands are. We'll see. He's not utilized much. Looking at the stats, he was targeted 3 times, only had 1 catch for 14 yards, and I don't know that. Did he get a sweep? Because those jet sweeps count as passes if they're like pitched. I don't remember him catching a ball. But if you do, let me know out there. When you can't run downhill, those gadget plays for speed dudes ain't too good. Oh, sure. When they don't respect it. That's what you're saying, Dean? Yeah, if you're not running the ball, then when you try to run those plays, they don't really work. I agree. So that's the first thing Wyoming has to do. And I don't even worry about the quarterback. You won't fix the quarterback until you can run the ball. So that's what they got to focus on, is running the ball. All right, I've been going for about a half an hour here. Let's talk about what's coming up here. Next week, Wyoming will open Mountain West play against Air Force Academy at home in Laramie. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports. And I don't know, did the Academy play today? Let's do a Mountain West scoreboard while we're waiting. Let me get this brought up here, and we'll do a little scoreboard. Little Mountain West scoreboard action. Let me get this up here for y'all. All right, here we are. So let's see. Game in progress. Fresno State is leading New Mexico 28-10 in the fourth. That's not surprising. Oh, Boise's playing Portland, which I did not know. They should win that quite easily. It's on FSN1. That's pretty crazy. Well, let's see. Hawaii will be playing on the islands against Northern Iowa here within an hour. And final games today. Okay, wow. Temple beats Utah State 45-29. Nevada beats Eastern Washington 49-16. I did see that the Sheep did get a 10-point win here against UTEP at home. UTEP's pretty horrible. Yeah, AJ says Air Force had a bye, as I can see now. So that doesn't make it even better. Air Force has got a week of rest coming into Laramie. And then, of course, Wyoming for 17. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, wow, that's a barn burner of a game. I didn't know they played last night. Washington State beats San Jose State in double overtime. Or just one overtime, looks like. 8-6. 54-52. Undefeated for Washington State. Wow. All right, we'll hide that. Yes, Clint. Oh, yeah, the Browns boot account on Twitter was getting a little spicy there against Wyoming at the end of the night. But hey, we deserve it. If you don't like it, win, I guess, right? All righty. Well, yeah, man. Thank you, TJ. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening. It's fun to do these. It's better when we win. But I don't know if we're going to have that opportunity. So that is the question, right? Wyoming's not going to win a game until they can run the ball. And I don't know who they can run the ball against. I think Air Force, obviously, isn't your standard Air Force team. But the way this defense tackled tonight and the way they were showing non-discipline in terms of their run fits and just being where they needed to be, the Air Force game scares the living crap out of me for next week. I think it could be another long night. Thank you, Clint. Yes. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. You'll get alerts when we go on air. We try to do a midweek show, and it depends on our schedules. It's usually like Wednesday or Thursday night. But if you hit subscribe, you'll get an alert. And then, yeah, thumbs up. It's always helpful. Help out the only channel out there talking Wyoming athletics. But, yeah. So Air Force next week. Wyoming will hope to maybe turn a new leaf. Conference season's over, or non-conference is over. 0-4. And now, technically, we could still win out in the conference and be Mountain West champions. You could say that. I wouldn't believe it, but you could say it at this point in time. So a very important game next week. And Wyoming has a lot of things to answer for. We'll see what Coach Salvell has to say in this postgame. And then on Monday in his press conference, and we'll be back midweek to break it down to see what the mood and the vibe is heading into the Air Force game. But I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. Thank you, everybody. These are always fun. Good interaction with you all. And, yeah, a disappointing night, but nothing that I don't think most of us didn't see coming, unfortunately. So everybody have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon here on WyoNation. Have a good night.